I'm gonna get you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching what will be episode 6 of the Bangcast. I am, of course, Greg Guy, joined here by Mr. Casey and Mr. Cuz.
On this glorious evening.
Well, it's more or less like mid,
it's winter time.
Later afternoon, but anyway, I don't know how we even got here this week on the Bangcast. We are going to discuss what I believe as, or actually what I refer to rather, as the commercialization of the Christmas holiday. Now, some of you might not quite understand what I mean. And that's fair enough. But what I believe is that, companies in particular try and, force their products on you over the period between Thanksgiving and, let's just say, January 8th. They just try and force feed you this stuff, try and, make as much revenue as possible.
Q4 profits.
Yeah, well, I mean, that also, correlates at the end of the year and everything. So, I'm going to open it up for discussion. So, that's my opinion. I do have some numbers and metrics. If would you like to hear them?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, 80% of most retail businesses collect their profit between Thanksgiving, which actually is probably like a little bit before, nowadays
Plus
with,
Black
like the pre-Black Friday sales and everything and so on and so forth, whatnot, and January 8th. 80% of your bottom line comes to your company over the course of about a month and a half. It's amazing to me.
I only take issue with the way that you're saying that they're pushing it. I mean...
No. I'm not saying they're pushing. I'm saying it's just the holiday is way too commercialized.
Right, what you were saying, they were pushing their products on you.
So propaganda.
Well, I mean, do you not see more like Christmas ads and everything on TV and whatnot?
It's competition. It's what it is.
Okay,
they're competing with other people.
Yeah, they can compete against each other and everything, but guess what? It's still commercialization.
I mean, I think at least most people in this country are numb to the commercialization of literally everything, to the point where they don't even really feel it anymore. For example, like if there's commercials on TV, I am not even paying attention to the commercials on television. That when they put ads on videos,
I mean,
you
have to disassociate commercials with commercialization. Okay, these are two totally separate things.
It's the same thing.
No,
they're
a commercial is an advertisement.
Right.
Commercialization is the fact that they are trying to push products on you in order to gain revenue.
That's what commercials are for.
That's a.
There's 100% commercials are for.
That's one little tiny branch of commercialization. That's not.
Advertisement is not commercialization. I mean, understand that.
A commercial is an advertisement.
Take that out of your head already.
You can't take it out because they're one of the same.
That's how you associate that, though.
I mean, that's how I would believe that everybody would associate it.
Okay, just because they, have the same base words, though, they're not the same thing.
A commercial is an advertisement to push a product or to compete to sell things.
Correct, i.e. an advertisement.
Yeah,
right.
Commercial is an advertisement.
Right.
Commercialization is not a commercial.
Commercialization
is much broader.
Yeah, it is a broader term, but commercialization is just it's everywhere in our society. It's like literally every single thing that you consume has, even if it's a person that's, even if you're just watching the news, for example, if you're watching the news and somebody has, I'm trying to stay away from the thing that I want to say. Okay, so somebody wants, there's a news story about a war that might happen. I'm gonna go this direction.
Fear mongering?
Well, there's fear mongering, but also part of the people that are advertising or paying the mainstream media, that they have like commercials and stuff. So this company knows that this CNN or whoever, any news organization is going to talk about this subject. So they will give money. It's basically they're paying the news media
For an agenda.
Yes, for the agenda to
That's not commercialization.
No.
It is in a way because it's an advertisement. They're basically trying to change the minds of the American people to think a certain way, so that the politicians will go along with their agenda, so that they can make money.
That is not even anything about commercialization. That's more or less just trying to, convince people that, what they think is wrong, basically, via advertisements. This is the difference between advertisements
And agenda.
and commercialization. Commercialization, okay, is you take an event. Okay, hear me out. You take an event, such as Christmas, right? You own a store that sells products, i.e., mainly Christmas gifts. Okay? Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Follow me?
What?
I already know what you're doing.
Okay, well, I'll stop looking at you then. You produce advertisements,
Right,
to sell these products that you are selling at your store in order to increase your bottom line at the end of the year.
right.
As I believe nothing to do with any kind of political or anything like that, like you were just talking about.
Yeah.
But that's not political. Basically, that's a company attempting to make money, and they're basically advertising.
Commercialization. Definition.
You are inflation.
You are inflation.
But it's all tied together. You don't see how
I do realize that some of this stuff is obviously
Similar.
interconnected and
Right.
and so on and so forth and whatnot. But at the same point in time, they're
Different.
in this commercialization of Christmas.
Corporations is what he's getting.
Corporations, corporate fucking greed.
Not politicians.
What I'm talking about is
Let's break back in. Break back in. Okay, ready? Okay. What were you talking about?
I was just saying that it's all the same. One way you look at it or another. Nobody does anything these days, for the most part, if they're not going to get
without a
something back
guarantee
in
of profit.
Right.
Well, that once again goes into the, whole idea that these companies make 80%, retail companies in particular, make 80% of their entire yearly profit over a 6-week period.
Mm-hmm.
How is, in my opinion, how is that sustainable?
They've been doing it for years.
But how is it sustainable long term? What if people stop celebrating Christmas? Think about this. Okay?
Do you see that happening anytime in the next 20 years?
All it would take would be a movement.
What kind of movement are you talking about?
Christmas lives matter. Who knows?
I was trying to target
Who
you.
knows? I know what you're trying to get me to say.
Well, see, now we're winding it back now you're winding it back to a media perspective, because these companies don't want Christmas to end.
Well,
so
obviously, hence commercialization.
As soon as somebody comes up with this movement about Christmas lives matter, it's going to be dead in the water from the start.
Tentative name.
Right, tentative name. It's going to be dead in the water from the start, and the person who came up with the idea is now every bad word that you can think of.
Right. What it trickles down to is profit margins.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And, as I said from the get-go of this was, if these, retail companies and everything are creating 80% of their balance sheet over a 6-week period, it doesn't make any sense to me how most of these companies are still in business.
It works.
I mean, do they have have you seen the analytics?
Well, it works because people buy into it via the commercialization.
Right. It's not hard to persuade the average person.
There, you're right. Yep. Especially as in a group. Like you're gonna Christmas wise, you have to buy other people gifts.
And
okay.
What?
Because it's well, in a way it's somewhat peer pressure in a way. Well, because if somebody buys me something, I have to buy them something.
Not necessarily.
And when you're growing up as a kid, you always
make
have
them something.
You always have fond memories of receiving gifts, and
I like that better. You put more effort and thought into it.
Well, what I'm saying is,
I'm gonna make you a macaroni Christmas tree this year.
Greg's gonna make you something.
I mean, if you want to make me a macaroni Christmas tree, I'll hang it on my fridge for a month or two.
But not all year. It's macaroni.
I mean,
don't go bad.
But you know what I'm saying? Like when you were a kid, you have fond memories of receiving gifts as a child, and you feel like you owe as a parent or as a uncle or as the older generation. You feel like that you have to return those memories, those good memories. To the younger generation.
So you're looking at it from basically what it is a psychological standpoint. You indoctrinate the younger.
I'm not
to get the parents to buy them things so that you can make.
It's
and does that not just
It's cultural.
Like
it's a cultural
roll
thing.
Into the
It's part of
commercialization.
There you go.
There you go. It's grounded into the culture of not only American culture, but almost every culture around the world that has.
It
might not even be
culture.
It might not even be Christmas. It might be a different, maybe a different religion celebrates a different holiday. But that's just a cultural thing.
Feel involved.
The gifts and giving is
I would be honest.
Part of a lot of
hear me out. I mean, I may kind of be like coming off as like Scrooge just here a little bit
really,
and everything.
Don't say. One might think.
Fuck you. But. I mean, I do enjoy giving gifts and everything, but, I mean, it feels like, to me, at this point in time, I don't necessarily want to say pressure, but the, fact that you feel basically obligated, that's a great word, to do this stuff, on this particular day.
Well, how do you feel about birthdays?
You know what he told me on my birthday?
You know the last birthday present I got?
I have no idea, but you know what I'm saying.
Probably from him.
When you
it was from him when I was 30.
When you have a kid, when there's a kid growing up, or a spouse or a loved one, you
by
buy
the way,
them
that's
a gift.
10 years ago.
Right, you buy them a gift, back and forth.
And you know what? I don't care. I view birthdays as just another day.
It really is.
Guess what?
Same as
but it's special. It's special to younger people.
Right, yeah, I mean, and this is my whole take on the, basically...
commercialization.
Well, no, just on Christmas. Like, if you are under the age of 16, guess what?
13.
I will buy you a present.
16, that's
I will buy you some sort of present. Granted, here at these later...
You're a man now, boy!
No.
You want something, you gotta earn it now.
Shut the fuck up! Granted, at this later point in time in my life, most of those presents are gift cards. I don't have time to, handcraft and pick out and, shop and do all this stuff.
What are you doing nowadays? You have time.
No.
Make something.
I don't have time.
What are you doing?
Physical therapy.
Once.
3 times a week. Doctor's appointments.
It takes an hour a day to make something.
What am I going to make?
Be creative, man.
If you really wanted to handle
Hey, man, I'll
I'm
give
sure
you a
would
spooch
find-
card.
Spooch card? No, thank you. But anyways, like,
I'm not even...
if you wanted to make something for somebody, if you really wanted to, anybody could find time to do it. And I'm not talking about that. You guys are being retarded right now.
One might think.
But,
Okay, go ahead, kid. Lick your mustache. Tell me how much you're mad.
Go on.
I don't even know where I am anymore. I don't know where I am in the conversation. I was getting to a lot of people these days, they have excuses for not having time for doing one thing or another. Where as it goes to losing weight or anything that they know that they should be doing, but just because of the fact that they know they should be doing it
It's an excuse.
is the reason why they don't want to do it. So they make excuses for big is beautiful and all that other kind of stuff. If you really wanted to do something and maybe if you even tried it or did it, like make a handmade gift and give it to somebody, you might find more pride and joy in giving something that was created from your own mind, as opposed to just
thoughtful gift.
Right, then just going to the store and getting a gift card. But there's nothing wrong with a gift card if that's what you want to do. I have no problem with that.
This is my whole, philosophy behind it. I don't know what you want. I don't have time, realistically, to know what you want.
And I'll counter that and say, you hang out with us enough to know a little bit about both of us.
Okay, well, I'm talking about more or less extended family.
I was going to say,
anyone under the age of 16.
Fortnite
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah.
My mom's not getting a present. My dad's not getting a present.
Do they really need a present?
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. Look, I don't need a present either. I prefer not to get presents.
I think
I
hate
hate it.
I got you.
I really hate it. I legitimately hate it when I actually
Right, because then you feel obligated.
and give it a present. Yes, and it's the whole cycle starts over again.
Right.
And guess what? Guess who makes money on this? Okay.
That's the whole point of making
Retail stores.
Making somebody.
Well, retail stores aren't the only ones that make money off it.
Most of them. Okay, or Amazon. Amazon kills it during. the
Well,
month
think of it
December.
like this.
Let's be honest.
Here's a good way to look at it. Your favorite movie is Bad Santa, right? What
Yes.
does the little fat kid make?
The little fat kid doesn't make nothing.
Yes, he does.
Oh, he makes a little wooden pickle or whatever that he bleeds all over.
And what does Billy Bob Thornton think? He thinks it was an awesome fucking gift because he put time and effort into it. There you go, bro. Literally just showed you from your favorite movie.
And I have to tell you, if you
Third favorite movie.
if
You
you
get the point, right?
Watch the video.
Christmas movie.
if you put time and effort into something and you're proud of it, maybe it's normally just the thought of giving the gift
Right.
that matters more. If a person is so empty and cold that you'll hand them something that you spent maybe an hour or a couple hours to make that you're proud of, and you give it to them and they just fucking look at it and say, "Oh, what a piece of shit," and throw it away. That's not a kind of person that you want to be around anyways. and you should never get that person a gift, regardless. Yeah, that person's just a piece of crap.
Yeah. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I mean, I mean, we totally got off the whole corporate thing, but
I don't think there's any point in fighting the corporate thing. I don't think it can be stopped. I think it's just ingrained into our culture so much.
Yeah.
And that's realistically, a lot of the problem. Hence the corporatization of or commercialization of the holiday.
I mean,
is it a
America?
problem? We're looking at it glass half empty.
I don't really see it that
if you
much
can't
as a
beat them,
problem.
join them type of mentality, right? Like, if people are going to spend their money, why not come up with something that
All
they
right.
can spend?
Are we going to start growing Christmas trees out in the backyard?
Not,
Is that what we're doing?
I mean, if you want to grow Christmas trees, I'll help you grow Christmas trees.
I mean, if you want to.
I don't know anything about this process.
They're not
what
going to
if
have
they
their
just stick a
fire
fucking
pit
tree in the
anywhere.
ground?
Tell Hawkins got to do this fire pit.
All right. No. I did say earlier that 80% of retail was basically, their profit margin was
6 weeks.
over, the 6 weeks between right before Thanksgiving and January 8th, right?
Okay.
What about the businesses in particular that 100% rely on, the Christmas season, the holiday season,
That they
as we'll call it.
they've created a process that benefits them, that it works for them. So I don't have a problem with that. If that's the way that they found their niche and the way they found their money.
It's kind of like the Halloween stores. They'll rent a
Right.
spot out. There's one in Delaware that is like the best place to
Right,
go.
but those are also seasonal too, right?
That's what we're talking about, right? People that make their money strictly off of.
Well, I would imagine.
I
For
mean,
example-
you're not running a Christmas tree farm, and this was the idea I just had when we were talking about this. You're not running a Christmas tree farm, right? For like 3 months out of a
Who's gonna
year.
have fucking evergreens?
Well, I mean, what do you really have to do to grow a Christmas tree? Excuse my language.
You gotta plant it, and you gotta let it grow for like 5 years.
So once every month you go out there and make sure it's been watered and it's got.
You gotta check the
You
soil.
probably don't even have to do that. I mean,
You gotta check the soil.
So
around.
you're literally basically it's like it's nothing more than like
long-term investment.
yeah, like investing in something for 5 years. And you really don't have to do much to it, right?
And then you hope that people will buy it at a specific spot.
Right. Then you have to.
So you
be able
might
to
wait
sell it.
5 years and pick the wrong spot. And be sitting there with a bunch of trees just.
Wait,
stacked.
well, I also did hear that like Christmas trees are going for like fresh Christmas
$125.
trees, like crazy numbers. Too.
Yeah, depending on the type of tree.
So, I mean, you got a yard out there. You're not doing anything with it. Why not?
I mean, you can just grow a pot out there and make more money.
You can't grow pot out there because it's illegal.
Legal in Maryland.
Put tomato plants around.
Maryland sucks.
When they scan you in the sky, tomato plants give off the same.
I mean, who eats that many tomatoes?
Okay, well, I mean, let's continue down this path because I thought about like 3 more businesses. Why you guys?
He's for Christmas now, baby. He's for
No,
Christmas.
I never said that. Fuck Christmas.
All right, let's hear
What
it.
about Christmas light companies? People that manufacture Christmas lights.
I don't know. What's the statistics on them actually making profits?
I
Because I have a illuminated Christmas tree. And it's 30 years old.
Personally, it sounds like
that's a Christmas tree though.
But it
That's
has
a Christmas tree product. No, I'm talking about like the string lights.
You can always get. You talking about the people that make the replacements? They're probably very
Well,
cheap.
I mean, I'm sure they make both.
it sounds like personally a Christmas light thing company sounds like it is probably a good business. So you create something that's a Christmas light, right? So you got the Christmas light. You put in you get them made over in China, probably whatever for like pennies on a dollar. You put them in a cheap box. You sell it. So Walmart or whatever retailer. And by the way, you could make, if you found a really cheap place to make it for a real short amount of time, those lights are never going to go bad, and Christmas is never going to go away. So
that sounds like a lot of work. I'd rather just do.
That also
cards.
sounds like a major factor of commercialization.
Right.
Christmas cards and birthday.
So I don't
cards.
understand what point you're trying to make. That
Okay.
commercialization of Christmas is a bad thing.
Let me keep going.
That's just the way it is.
What about the people that manufacture stockings? You know, the Christmas stock.
The Asians overseas.
Okay. Once again, is this going to be another, similar thing? Basically, can we just reiterate
I don't know where you're trying
the
to go with
same exact thing you just said?
Right.
Fair enough? Is that a fair assessment? Are we all in agreement?
Where do they make their stockings?
I don't know. Where'd you buy that from?
Walmart, probably.
Walmart.
So Taiwan
there you go.
or
Walmart.
China.
So, yes.
I mean, they got a tag inside of it, I'm sure.
You rarely see Taiwan anymore. It's probably China.
Fair enough.
One might think.
Okay, anyway, my point is, alright, so, they are basically, okay, before I even say this, or before I even say that, do you think the vast majority of the Chinese population celebrates Christmas?
None of them do.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because religion's illegal
Fair enough.
in China.
Fair enough. Okay. So, basically, what you're telling me that we were taking what was started as a religious holiday, and we are outsourcing it to another country, basically. I mean, obviously, not just one country, a vast majority of countries, in order to increase profits for companies and corporations.
Well, now we're not even talking about Christmas. Because now we're talking about the problem we have with worldwide trade.
But it gets magnified because 80% of retail stores collect their balance sheet in 6 weeks out of the year, from
Where do
prior
they
to
order their
Thanksgiving
products from?
to right after the New Year.
Right.
And where do those products come from?
Well,
The commercialization of Christmas is a corrupt and fucking goddamn
Vile.
disgusting fucking, tactic, obviously used by a lot of these, people who are just, quite honestly, wealth mongering, as far as like, in particular, corporations and everything goes.
we're talking about the problems we have with globalism and trade right now. We're not talking about Christmas and commercial. I mean, in a sense, we are, because, like I said,
80% of the balance sheet.
It's
a huge part of it.
It's all interconnected, one way or the other. But the real problem is that these companies, all across the world, you can find cheap labor, and the fact that we're not taxing, or I can't remember the actual word.
Import tax.
Or
tariff.
We're not tariffing products coming. We're doing like this free trade agreements with these countries that that'll pay their workers literal dirt to make a product and then ship it to the United States, and it's still less expensive even after paying for the transportation of that product. First of all, we have to put tariffs on all items coming into this country, especially from countries that are using pretty much slave labor and selling it to us, because we should be we need to re-up the manufacturing in this country.
Wouldn't you say American corporations exploit
Absolutely.
slave labor in other countries?
As soon as you buy your cell phone, you personally, you are exploiting slave labor. Every product that you buy across the world,
You heard it first.
from countries
You
like
are exploiting
China
slave labor
and
if you
Taiwan.
have some-
You absolutely are. 100%. You 100% are, and you know it yourself. That if you buy a product from that part of the world, you are guilty of exploiting slave labor.
I agree with that, sentiment and everything.
You bought it. You're buying the stuff. You're a part of it. You are a part of it.
Everyone in the world that is, connected to this thing that is called the internet is a part of it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, realistically, what do you do about that?
You don't buy products that are made in those places.
So you basically just go live in a hut.
Or you buy American-made shit for jacked up prices.
The only way a consumer can speak is through their money.
That's true.
That is the only way that you can speak.
And this, kind of goes back to the, commercialization, statement that I made earlier. It was like, the only way that any of us can, invoke change is just not doing it.
And we all know that, but what's the percentage of people that know it?
Just don't do it. I mean, granted, it's, cool for, kids, cool for kids and everything, so on and so forth, whatnot. Yes, get them their, presents, everything. But don't buy me anything. Parents, even the kids, don't buy me anything.
Well, I will say one thing about parents is that most parents, when they see you, they still see their little boy or girl that they raised. So for them to buy you a gift or want to buy you something, I don't think that's wrong.
Unless they don't know you very well and then they buy you a fucking gift.
Right, just to try to make up for all those years they missed.
What's the worst gift your parents have? I almost regret asking this question already. What's the worst gift your parents ever bought you?
Probably the clothes they fucking buy me, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, the other shit's useful, or I just say, yeah, send that back.
Well, the clothes are useful too because you can burn it.
Or send it back and get something that actually, like...
Donate it to Goodwill or some shit.
Or I can just send it back and get clothes I want.
I don't know. That was just a little side thought. I was like, oh.
Back to Christmas. Commercialization. Basically, you already said most of the shit.
Right, but I still believe that, the fact is that, especially with like advertisements and everything, whatnot, they just try and, get the hype train going throughout, the holiday season in order to create their profits for the year, which basically happens in a 6-week period on a retail, store side of it.
And it's just kind of insidious because Christmas is supposed to be a time of like happiness and shit. So they exploit that whole hanging out with family and giving them things because I'm pretty sure at some point in time Christmas was about like giving someone something that they needed. Nowadays, no one really needs anything, so now it's all basically consumers.
Well, I would venture to say in this particular
country. Right. You can always go to another country and give them fucking food, and that's like gold to them, you know what I mean? But obviously I'm talking about us in America. So.
Yeah, I totally concur with that.
Like, think about it, like back
assessment.
Like, what was it, Great Depression. Like, back then, someone probably knitted a fucking shirt for someone for like 3 months, you know what I mean? Just
at the same time, if you think about it, if you have a cultural shift where we all know that for most of us here in this country, we all have all the things that we need to survive.
Right. Our basic needs are met.
We could make a cultural change to be giving of other countries and other and people that in places that have less than us.
That probably will never happen.
Like I'm saying, And at the same time, like if you're using your money and you're spending your money in that direction, that's the way those companies will move. That they're going to see that the money is going in that direction, and they're going to follow it. So if we all continue to use our culture in the way that we're just going to buy each other gifts that we don't need in general, then that's just the way it's always going to be. But there could be a cultural shift to where we now realize that we're the most beneficial of all the things that we've created in this world or whatever. I probably said that all wrong in my head.
No. You're doing good.
But there could be a cultural shift to be more giving, and then the companies see where our money is flowing, and then they will follow that money into those kind of subjects that we're doing, trying to increase
more or less
the
those kind of endeavors
given.
in order to like feed, like, let's say, starving people in Africa.
Right.
Just an example.
Right.
Do you really think that Barbie doll in California is going to give up her Gucci bag to feed a starving kid?
Right.
Well, that's the problem.
Well, if nobody's buying that Barbie doll, then they're not going to make it.
I might buy her for a night. You mean the Gucci bag?
Out of Barbie doll. Anyway, no. I totally like what you're saying.
Yeah.
I would rather, put money into something that helps someone that is not fortunate enough, to
Be born in the right situation.
not even be born in the right situation, but just not to have food on their plate.
Right.
Honestly, rather than just buying another toy.
Right.
For, another nephew.
Yeah, and how many pointless fucking presents do people buy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? When you go to those family gatherings.
I really like that idea. That's actually...
Isn't Elon Musk working on that right now?
Well, no, he's trying to build the infrastructure in order to feed the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big task.
But yeah, there's it's more complex than just being like, here's some food. Like, you gotta build the infrastructure. You gotta make places livable and sustainable. Otherwise, you're just giving them food and they're just gonna go right back to square one again.
Well, unless they can, actually cultivate food.
Right.
They
right.
keep sustainable food coming in.
What is crazy to me is that Africa has, I think we talked about this before, they have gems, diamonds, they have so many resources that they could fucking use to make money, but it's so fucking chaotic over there, and nobody has...
Purposefully chaotic, too.
Yeah, and it's just like, wow, you guys could be a profitable country. You got your shit together. Warlords need to stop fucking...
Well, not even a profitable country, a profitable continent.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is you got, French hands in the thing, you got English hands in the thing,
Yeah.
you got, American hands in the thing, you got all these people dipping in there.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
you just got to try to, keep as many people happy as you can. Hopefully you'll be able to survive, unfortunately.
Keep as many people as happy as you can without you actually being happy is what it seems like for Africa. Because Africa is not a good place. Some places on the coastline and shit.
Yeah. No.
Back to Christmas.
I feel like we got off that a little bit ago, but anyway,
Yeah,
dude, just to reiterate what you said earlier, man.
I mean,
That might have struck a little bit of nerve.
You have emotions?
I know, it's shocking, right?
It really is.
There's a lot of easily changeable cultural things, but it's not so easy because then you have to change the whole culture.
Well, again, on top of that, you also have to, set up organizations and everything.
And then think about the
majority of those
generations.
organizations are already in place; they're just not being utilized.
Or they are corrupt
Oh, that's true. They could be corrupt.
individuals, basically taking all the,
I'll be honest. At this point,
donation money, so on and so forth.
At this point, I think I've learned my lesson on donating to any national organization. If you want to donate to anybody, do not donate to a national organization. Donate to a local organization.
Tell us how you really feel.
Let's finish this fucking thing.
Yeah, let's get this done.
Anyway. Alright, so basically, like I said, I personally, going into final thoughts here, I personally believe that the way that, the corporations and everything have commercialized, Christmas is, in my particular opinion, disgusting. I mean, I have no problem with free enterprise, free trade, free shit like that, but just the way they basically commercialize this one particular holiday in order to gain like 80% of the balance sheet.
Is it really their fault though? Like they didn't tell you to go buy it. They didn't put a gun to your head.
I mean, that's another point. I mean, it could be more of a societal problem too, but. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
If you could make a profit off of other people's stupidity, and they were okay with it. I mean, it's not good, but
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not.
They have free will, so
I would actually venture to say it's probably not honorable, but. At the same point in time, I mean, that's the basis of capitalism.
Right, that is capitalism.
Which is...
If somebody's giving me something and I'm not taking it from them, it's basically an honorable trade.
You can convince people all you want. That's capitalism.
Fair enough.
As morally corrupt as all that shit sounds, you know what I mean?
So
me and you just talked about that a little bit ago.
Taxation is taking. Buying is giving.
Convincing.
There you go. You heard it here first. Taxation is taking, and buying is giving. Thank you for those insightful words, Mr. Casey.
Thought I'd leave you all some with a little bit
that's
of,
definitely going to be on the shirt.
Gold.
I'm going to be honest. It gave me a little bit of choke.
Well, that was not my intent. I would like to take it back.
No, you don't. No, you don't. I know you don't. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for episode 6 of the Bangcast. We continuing on with the Christmas week. We discussed.
Give me a little bit of chub. I'd like to take.
Shut up. We discussed the commercialization of Christmas. I'm, of course, Gregor Guy, joined here by Mr. Cuz and Mr. Casey. I think, just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today.